Hello, I'm Sam Calagione, founder and president of Dogfish Head Brewery, and right now, instead of being back at the brewery in Delaware, I'm up at my family farm in Montague, Massachusetts, gateway to the Berkshires, and you can see if we look over there, there's the family house. That'd be my dad. Wave to the camera, Dad. There he is, and he came with the house. My dad, he's got like permanent squatter rights. And over on this side, you can see we got our pond growing up. This is where we play hockey out here on the pond. And back behind here, behind me, is our pastures where we do some grass-fed beef. If you come to our pub in Rehoboth, sometimes you might get lucky and there might be Red Brook Farm grass-fed beef on the menu. But the main reason I'm here today is to talk a little bit about our maple project. And behind me is a gigantic maple tree. Dad, you think this is what, 300 years old? No. Right. He's a tooth surgeon and a tree expert as well. But at any rate, a couple weeks ago, this tree alone had 7 or 8 buckets hanging off of us when the sap was running. So throughout our property here, we harvest the sap and we bring it down to Gary Billings, our neighbor's sugar house right down the road from here, where we harvest maple syrup for our 75-minute and our Immort ale. But also this year is the first year that we're doing our Dogfish Head natural flavored maple syrups. We did the wit spice one with orange peel and coriander, and the Immort maple syrup, like our Immort ale, it has vanilla beans and juniper berries in it. So we hope you enjoy this little film that we made about making these syrups. Cheers. Good morning. We are here at the original ground zero of Dogfish Head, our Rehoboth Beach brew pub. This is kind of where everything started at our company. It was our only location in the mid-90s. And right there in the room that you can't see, that believe me I'm pointing to, is our R&D experimental brew pub. So any new recipe that comes from Dogfish Head starts in that room over there, and that's where we started playing around with these ingredients in the mid-90s that not any other breweries were really playing around with, and kind of built our reputation for being pretty adventurous with what we do with our beers. Beer is not the only thing we do at Dogfish Head. We also make our own beer soap, beer shampoo. Upstairs from here we have our pot still, where we make our own off-centered rums, gins, and vodkas. We even make our own doggy treats out of the spent barley that comes out of our brewery. But today is a special day because we're entering a new world, which is the world of maple syrups. In the same way that we saw an opportunity to do really adventurous spirits and adventurous beers that are unlike any that are already out there on the market, we wanted to do something similar in the world of maple syrup. We've been harvesting maple syrup from my family's farm in Western Mass to use in our beers since 1995, which was when we started doing our Booth Bay barley wine, which by '96 was renamed our Immort ale. And we also used our maple syrup currently also in our 75-minute cask conditioned IPA to naturally carbonate that beer. The maple syrup is what the yeast eats in the cask to naturally carbonate it. So we saw an opportunity to take an off-centered approach to the world of maple syrup in terms of a finished product as well. So what we're going to be doing here is making a concentrate. This is over $1,000 worth of pure, uncut Massachusetts maple syrup. What we've got in front of us is an array of spices. We plan to bring out in April, May time frame 2 bottled maple syrups that are going to come in our Dogfish Head 12-ounce bottles, beer bottles. One will be our wit spice maple syrup, which will be made with organic dried orange peel as well as coriander, as a traditional Belgian wit would be made. Those are the traditional spices that go into that kind of beer. The other maple syrup that we'll be bottling will be our Immort maple syrup, which will be spiced similarly to the way we spice our Immort ale, meaning it'll get these Madagascar beautiful vanilla beans and juniper berries as well. And how this will work is we'll create basically gigantic tea sacks of these spices, and then we will take these tea sacks, we will submerge them in the simmering maple syrup, dilute it a bit with water so that as that water evaporates and it simmers, it'll pull all this great flavor out of these special spices. We'll then take our concentrate, our flavored concentrate up to Massachusetts for the major bottling run at the Sugar House, which is right next to my family farm there in Western Mass. So we're getting ready to get these things all chopped up. Then we'll start the simmering process and start figuring out the ratios of flavoring for this concentrate for these maple syrups. Our hope is that this maple syrup will go really well, not just with your rustic flapjacks, but it'll be great use in making vinaigrettes, salad dressings, and also as sort of a basting onto grilled meats, maybe as a replacement for barbecue sauces when you're grilling meats or chicken or even fish. So this will be a fun project, and we'll be taping, making this little film throughout it. Alright, so we're here at Ripley Farm, right down the road, dirt road here from my family farm. And we're here with Gary Billings. We're going to be running the Dogfish Head flavored syrups today. We're in Gary's sugar house. Why don't you tell us, Gary, a little bit about how your family got into sugar and when it started?
Well, like any old New England farm family, everybody made their own syrup years ago. And my grandfather's grandfather bought the farm next door, and they started sugaring there during the off season.
This is like the early 1800s?
I would think so, yeah. My grandfather was born in 1900, so it would have to be in the early 1800s, I would think. And it just went from one generation down to the next. Farms were passed down from one generation to the next, and along with that went the sugaring business. And when my grandfather's parents died, him and his brother split. They had by then two farms, this one and the one next door that was a homestead. And the two brothers split the farms, and each moved on to one, and my grandfather continued the sugaring business. And it's been going down from generation to generation since then.
So now let's just walk us briefly through the process. Up here is a sign that actually is a great condensed version.
Yeah, that's the nickel tour, so to speak. But we'll start in this area, and the time of year that you start is dictated by the area you're in. In this particular location, it works for us. We'll start about the third week of February capping trees. And it takes us, between the buckets and the pipeline, it takes us about a week if we have decent weather.
To harvest.
Well, to tap.
Yeah.
To tap the trees.
Okay, yeah.
To get everything out, we like to get all tapped out before we start boiling. Some years it starts running before we're done. We have to shut down for a little bit and start gathering before we finish. But most years we can get everything tapped out before it warms up enough to boil.
And how many gallons of sap is it to yield a gallon of maple syrup?
Well, at the start of the year, if you have good sap, anywhere from 30 to 40 is a good sugar to 1 ratio. So probably 35 gallons of sap to get a gallon of syrup.